Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Shatterpoint Meta Watch. I'm your host Steve, and join me as I look back over the data, have a look at the meta since that balance update for May 2026. This is going to be exciting. So if this is your first time joining me on one of my Meta Watches, this is a little series that I've been running since the start of the year, where I look back over the month's data. And this month, we're not going to look at any of the data prior to the balance update. If you're curious about what the meta was looking like, just go and watch any of January, February, March, or April's videos, because they were pretty much exactly the same primary units dominating the meta, with the same kind of pairings. Not too much creativity coming through, unfortunately. It just was a bit of a stale meta at that point in time. So we're just going to be looking at the preliminary data from the last 2 weeks, really, the kind of end of May, where we start to see some of the new balance update units hit the table, and also the Balin and Morgan boxes. For those of you who are also joining for the first time, just a note, I don't look at any league results if I can, and I only look at rated events. So I'm only looking for tournaments that are rated. There's the variety of reasons for this, but I think that this gives us the most competitive lists, which is what I am interested in. So let's start and have a look at some of the early data. So obviously we've only had 15 events run since the balance update. So this is still very low numbers in terms of the data. So for example, in first place at the moment with an 100% win rate is Plo Koon, but he's only got 6 games. So we're not too concerned by that. And again, Hondo, 6 games, 83% win rate. Princess Leia doing pretty well, 19 games, 79% win rate. So she's winning pretty decent amount of the time there. Lando, 12 games, 67% win rate. Luminara, 17 games and 65% win rate. But then as we start to scroll down a little bit further, this is where we start to see some slightly more games played. So Iden Versio coming in with 35 games and a 63% win rate. Then Morgan Elspeth, one of the new primaries that we've seen, so we'll be looking at her a little bit later on. 62% win rate with 42 games. Also on a 62% win rate is Mother Talzin. So wonder whether some of that is due to the pairing there with Morgan. We will find out later. Then Moff Gideon comes in with 51 games and a 61% win rate. And then Balin Skull, the other new primary to drop, 35 games, 60% win rate. Then as we move down a bit further, we've got Thrawn also on 60% with 20 games. Hunter back, still popular, 48 games played, 58% win rate, along with Mace Windu and his 24 games. Then the 57s, we've got Grand Inquisitor with 21 games played, and then Boss, still proving a little bit popular, but nowhere near as dominant as he was with 44 games. So, all of those first 15 units, for those of you who've watched the show before, you know that we're really looking for a healthy game. We really want the win rate to be between the 45 and the 55% win rate. So all of those units just performing a little bit higher. However, as I said before, do just watch out with this because this is very, very early data, so we don't want to read too much into it. But in that sweet spot of 55% to 45%, we've then got Kiadi Mundi with 56 games and Jedi Master Plo Koon on 30. They're both on the 55% win rate. Then some 54s, which are Anakin and the Armourer. Anakin with 37 games and the Armourer with 28. And then Queen Amidala Padme coming strong here, 40 games and a 53% win rate. So that's looking really healthy. Then we've got a bunch of 50% win rates. We've got Luke Skywalker, only 5 games though. Then Vader Jedi Hunter, the most played primary unit since the balance update, with 66 games. So we will be taking a look at his data there and diving in a bit further. That's a 50% win rate there. And Mando as well, 44 games and 50% win rate. Then we start to drop down quite suddenly, really now. We get Leia Organa Freedom Fighter, 47% off the 29 games. Obi-Wan Kenobi still proving very popular. He was there throughout the top 5 since I was doing this Meta Watch. He was there all through the last kind of season, as it were. Before this balance update, Obi-Wan was always popular, and he still remains so with 53 games and 45% win rate. And then Kanan is our last 45% win rate with 21 games, so just clinging on in that sweet spot there. Then as we move down into the slightly lower part of the bell curve, so not quite where we want to see these units, we've got General Veers, 57 games. Lots of people getting Veers on the table with a 44% win rate. Then Cad Bane on a 42% win rate with only 12 games. Han Solo, 11 games, 41% win rate, along with General Grievous as well with 32 games. Then moving down into the 40%, we've got Lord Maul, 25 games. Then Hera with 38% win rate over her 13 games, along with Cassian, who, big dog of the previous meta, sometimes played 3 times as much as the nearest other primary almost, and here he is only on 25 games with a meager 38% win rate. So maybe that's just because some of the better players are looking to play different units now the balance update has dropped, or maybe it is that Cassian just doesn't fit in this new world. We will find out as the weeks go on. And Logray, 36 games, also on a 38% win rate, along with Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum with her 8 games. Then as we really start to move into the bottom section, we see Krennic still struggling, 37% win rate with 19 games. Asajj, 11 games, 36% win rate, along with Vader, Emperor's Servant. So whilst Vader Jedi Hunter doing really well, Emperor's Servant still just struggling along, 36% win rate with those 25 games. Then Chirpa, 21 games, 33%, with Riff, 27 games and 33% win rate. And then Dooku languishing at the bottom. So the Separatists still really struggling here. Separatists down at the bottom with Dooku only having 25 games and a 28% win rate. Then Jin, 13 games, 23% win rate. Ahsoka Tano Jedi No More, 20 games, 20% win rate. And then CT, poor old CT, 1 game and a loss. However, because CT was played at a competitive event, that now means we've got all 44 of our primary units played in a competitive setting this month, which is fantastic to see. Absolutely love that. So yeah, so whilst we don't want to read too much into it, it is clear still from this early data, Separatists not doing quite so well, and our new boxes up here with our Baylan and Morgan both performing very well. So now let's just familiarise ourselves again with the most played units so far. So in first place in terms of most played with 66 games, we have Darth Vader Jedi Hunter. He's perfectly balanced with 50% win rate here. So bringing balance to the Force, Darth Vader is certainly doing that. Then in second place, a little bit further down, we have Veers, 57 games played, 44% win rate. So this is the most played units here. Then we've got Ki-Adi-Mundi, who is up in 16th position with a 55% win rate with 56 games played. So he's in third at the moment in terms of most games. Then Obi-Wan, where was Obi-Wan? There he is, 53 games played. And a 45% win rate there. And then our final one, up a bit higher here, actually, is Moff Gideon with a 51 games played and a 61% win rate. But great to see that our most played units are also kind of falling within that nice sweet spot of the bell curve. Moff Gideon's slightly higher than we want, and Via's just a little bit under. But that is really positive early doors for the meta. So let's take a look at these primary units. So first up is Vader Jedi Hunter, that 50% win rate over the 66 games. And he's played 33 games going first and second, and there is a slight advantage to going first with the 55% win rate there if you go first. We won't look at who he's performing well against at the moment. When we got more data, I might start to look at that aspect as well. But here we're looking at what's pairing well, and no surprise here at all. The most pairings with a 62% win rate is Ki-Adi-Mundi. We saw this build coming through in the last meta. We hypothesized, as did many people, that this would be a strong build, the Vader Ki-Adi build here, and this is certainly proving so. Other kind of games, the pairings that have been kind of just a smattering here. We've got Grand Inquisitor, 50% win rate, Boss with a 50% win rate, Iden with a 71% win rate, but again, only a handful of games there. And then a good handful with the new Padme as well, but she's just not quite pairing so well with Vader with the 43% win rate. So yeah, so very clear that Kiadi Vader still strong, but good to see that there's a bit of a Galactic Empire working as well. Moving over to General Veers now. So 57 games, 32 games where he went first and 25 games where he went second. Again, slight advantage to going first, but not much. There are a handful of games extra on that one there. And then if we scroll down to see who he's pairing well with, wow, standing out from the crowd, the most games paired with and the best win rate is with Morgan, one of our new primaries to drop. We will be looking at Morgan and Balin in a little while as well, but that is really positive to see. Unfortunately, though, not pairing so well with the second most played primary unit, which is Krennic there, with only a 30% win rate. So yeah, Veers seeming to struggle with everyone at the moment other than Morgan. So interesting to see how that will shake down a little bit further as we move into this new meta. Kiadi Mundi now, so 55% win rate over 56 games. He's got a slightly better win rate going second, but not by much, and there's not too far a disparity between the number of games played in first and second, going first or second. So that is that's really good. Then if we scroll down here, we can see that we've got, again, the most pairings we saw a minute ago are with Vader Jedi Hunter. But it seems that he is working pretty well with everyone, apart from just a squeaking along with Anakin, Obi, and not doing so well with Kit Fisto. But Luminara, Plo Koon, and Mace Windu performing very well with Kiadi. So Kiadi, we saw in the last meta, really bringing the Jedi up, lifting the Jedi along with him, and he is continuing to do so. Obi-Wan Kenobi now, so 45% win rate, so not quite where he was previously, but 53 games played. A slight advantage to go second, although there's less games with that data at the moment, so again, we won't read too much into it. However, if we scroll down, we can see that the pairing with Anakin, so whilst Kiadi wasn't doing so well with Anakin, we can see that Obi and Anakin is doing actually all right with a 56% win rate. Obi Hunter doing well as well with a 56% win rate there. And then just a handful of pairings kind of going around. Mace is doing okay. The one game with Luminara as a win there. Not doing so well with Kiadi, only the 33% win rate, and also with Padme, not doing so well early doors, and Ahsoka Jedi No More, but I'm sure that we'll be seeing a lot more of Obi-Wan as the meta progresses. And then our fifth most played primary unit for the May kind of look at the meta is Moff Gideon. 51 games played, and a whopping 79% win rate if you go first with Moff Gideon. By comparison, only a 36% win rate if you go second with him. So really needs to be getting off on the front foot with Moff Gideon to get the wins there, it seems. And then if we scroll down, we can see our two most played primary units with Moff Gideon are Iden Versio and Thrawn, both 11 games, an 82% win rate with Thrawn, and then a 64% win rate with Iden. But there is also good news for Darth Vader Emperor's Servant here. So Emperor's Servant not looking so good on the rankings. However, he has got a 67% win rate when paired with Moff Gideon, which is really, really interesting to see. Veers and Moff Gideon, it seems that Moff Gideon, whilst he's doing well, even he can't pull Veers up. And then the one loss with CT came in a Moff Gideon pairing as well. So yeah, really interesting to see how Moff Gideon gets on in this new meta. And now for some new units. So let's have a look at Balin's win rate here. So Balin with a 60% win rate across 35 games. A slight advantage on going second, but only a third of the games less played. So won't read too much into it early doors, but does seem to be performing well regardless of whether he goes first or second. But let's have a look at what he's being paired with. So we can see the most pairings are with Mando, and that's coming in at a 50% win rate. But interestingly is this Balin and Darth Maul pairing here that Phil from Tabletop Impulse was running. I really like that one. I also am interested by this Ahsoka Tano and Balin build, the Jedi No More build there, coming in at 67% win rate, both of those respectively. However, However, there's also some interest with Lando and Hondo both doing very well when paired with Balin and as primary units. So yeah, lots of things to look at here. Not sure where Balin's going to go. The door is open. We will see where it leads. Very, very interesting, but great to see that Balin is getting some love so early out the doors. And the final primary that we will deep dive is Morgan. So she is coming in with a 62% win rate off 42 games, with a slight advantage coming in if she goes first. So it's 66% win rate if she goes first, but 54 if she goes second. But again, remember, this is low number of games. So let's see who she's being paired with. So we've got a variety of pairings, but the most is the 28 games paired with General Veers with a 61% win rate. But very interestingly, people were saying they didn't think it was going to work, but Dan Humpage made it work at the UK Games Expo with these 4 games here. I think those are his 4 wins with Mother Towson and Morgan. So people were saying that Mother Towson wasn't going to work with Morgan, but Dan certainly made it work. At least 3 of those are his wins. So yeah, really good to see that pairing is working with some Night Sisters there. Also great to see Asajj getting a win as well with Morgan. But then yeah, it will be interesting to see how this shakes down. The Mother Towson, the Morgan Elsmith and Maul pairing appearing not to work immediately, along with the Vader Jedi Hunter. But still, early doors on the data, but great to see Morgan getting some games in as well. So a quick glance at whether going first or second matters that much. And at the moment, going first has got you a slight advantage as opposed to second. But as always, it's pretty much evenly balanced. Just 52% in one direction and 48% in the other. But then let's have a quick little glance at the missions. Now, we did hypothesize that this would be coming, but Strategic Positions is still number 1. The most recent mission, 93 games, the most popular one there, followed by Sabotage Showdown with 76 games. Never Tell Me the odds and shifting priorities, respectively, are in third and fourth, and then First Contact, sadly, coming in with only 17 games. So let's have a quick look at the strategic positions and see what's doing well at the moment. So let's take a quick glance, and we can see that Kiadi is enjoying it. 16 games played, 75% win rate there with Kiadi Mundi. Morgan enjoying this as well, 72% win rate off the 18 games. And Balin as well, 63% win rate with 19 games played. Moff Gideon, we've just seen his data as well. 18 games played, 61% win rate. So looking very, very good there. And Vader Jedi Hunter, happy on this mission as well. 14 games, 50% win rate. So let's have a look and see what's not doing so well. Mando continuing to struggle slightly, 41% win rate across the 17 games. Veers not enjoying this mission very much at all, 39% win rate with 23 games. The Armourer is probably pairing with Mando on these, 36% win rate with the 11 games. And then down here at the bottom, 13 games played, 31% win rate with Vader, the Emperor's Servant. So yes, not looking very good at all for the other Vader. But that is just a little snapshot of the mission data there. We will certainly take a deeper dive into all the missions on the next month's Meta Watch. So there we go, just a really quick little look at the meta this month. Obviously there was a lot less data. We were only looking at basically 2 weekends worth of events. So June will offer us more, and then obviously July, and then we'll be able to look at Q2 as well. June, isn't it? Yeah, June. End of June we'll look at Q2, but that will just be the May. End of May plus the June. So yes, so as we move through the year, we will hopefully see a lot more data come through on this. But yeah, so for now, Plo Koon can be very happy sitting there on an 100% win rate with 6 wins, no draws, and no losses. With Hondo as well sneaking in up there with 5-1 on 83%. So yeah, that's really nice to see. But I think the big takeaway is how well both Morgan and Balin are doing in the new mission and in the new meta at the moment. So yeah, 42 games and 35 games respectively, and 62 and a 60% win rate. So that's looking really positive for them. So all that remains for me to say is, if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like, the subscribe, the follow, ding the bell, etc. We're still trying to grow the channel, making our way, if we can, to 100 channel members by the end of the year. That's my kind of personal goal. That would be really, really lovely. If we get there, that would be fantastic. So until the next time, all that remains for me to say is bye for now.